What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Anti-Flag. And we're going to listen to a tune from their 2003 album, The Terror State. I do enjoy this album quite a lot. If you missed it, I did talk about the revelations about Justin Sane and the dissolution of the band in my previous Anti-Flag reaction for Tearing Everyone Down. So I won't repeat all that here, but you can go check that out if you want to hear my thoughts on what happened. In any case, I will keep reacting to some of their music, and this song, called Wake Up with an exclamation point, is perhaps less of an issue in that regard because it's sung by Chris number 2, or is it Chris Head or Chris number 2? I think it's Chris Head, one of the members of the band that wasn't there from the beginning but joined not too long after and became one of the two lead vocalists of the group along with Justin Sane. So yes, this one is impassioned to say the least, and it speaks to the idea that so many people are, especially here in the United States, which is the focus of the lyrics, but you could extrapolate this to people in other places that are more affluent or where day-to-day life is not disrupted by state-level violence or sectarian conflict and so on. But the idea is that so many people are comfortable in their comfort. They are, in a state where they don't have to worry about where food is coming from. They don't have to worry about bombs dropping on their head. And as such, they become complacent. They become less concerned with the injustices and travesties happening in other places of the world. And it uses the line that, we're so in our American dream that maybe we've forgotten that there is suffering, there is injustice, and there is a lack of liberty, and if you truly care about those concepts, at the very least, it doesn't hurt to know about events in the world, maybe figuring out what you can do, not necessarily that you have to abandon your life or your job to become a volunteer or activist, but you can still, maybe in your own way, in your own time, and at your own pace, find a way to inform others, to speak up about such issues, to use your political influence, even if it's just going to a ballot box every couple of years, to try to in some way influence those situations and to bring about more justice, more freedom, more liberty, and more humanity in the world. And so the narrator, who is more activist, who is more intense in his desire to create a movement, a groundswell of resistance to state-level terror, military violence, and the marginalization and brutalization of peoples in different places. So he's saying, look, you're all so in your American dream, in your comfortable life. What do I have to do to get your attention? If I take this oily rag and take a lighter and set it on fire, to make a Molotov cocktail to throw it, will that get your attention? If we lay down in the streets and prevent you from just going about that comfortable life, will you be more mad about being 5 minutes late to work than about humans being brutally killed, in some cases, in the name of your country's glory and so on, or your country's financial comfortability? So what are you more bothered about? Are you more bothered about our activism that is sometimes happening in public places? Or can you see the humanity in the issues we're trying to bring to people's attention? And he makes the point that sometimes you have to shout to make your voice heard, and his voice is going to be heard, and he's not going to stop screaming for freedom and fighting for liberty. So yes, the idea of being woken up and not being complacent in the face of injustice, brutality, and exploitation. Now, again, I don't think the song is suggesting that everyone has to be an activist like that everyone has to quit everything else they're doing, abandon their, comfortable suburban home, and, live a life on the front lines. I just think it's saying that in their own way and to each what one is able, if you can somehow care about these issues more, see the humanity, see the injustice, and at the very least discuss these things, try to vote in a way that is more likely to reduce the suffering in the world and so on, then you can do your own part. You can wake up on your own level. So let's give it a listen. This is Anti-Flag. The track is Wake Up. It's from the Terror State, 2003. The way you said freedom at the end there makes me wonder if I reacted to Rage Against the Machine's Freedom. I know I reacted to a handful of songs from their debut album now a couple years ago, but I wonder about that one. In any case, yes, I very much sympathize with the message. There is a line there that I wasn't thinking of in advance, the idea of like, you might wake up surrounded by flames. You know, the longer these issues fester, the more they will cause conflict, suffering, and even violence in places that might previously have been immune or buffered against, you know, not in zones which currently are conflict zones, not places where, you know, economic shortages are felt acutely. But again, the longer that we allow nation states to, you know, saber rattle and shoot missiles at each other and let powerful people at the very top of those societies bring larger groups of people into conflict and destruction and death, and eventually even those who've been insulated from those experiences will eventually find themselves engulfed in flames. So yeah, I think it's a very perceptive song. I do enjoy the guitar work. I especially enjoy the melody of the chorus, especially the first line of "to the world around you," just something about the way that line hits, and then there's like a different rhythmic version of that line next, and then the way they hit the line "to the world around you" the third time, I enjoy that a lot as well. So a well-crafted, a well-composed song. And yeah, again, it's weird reacting to this band after what ended up happening, but ultimately they left behind a lot of good music and a lot of good ideas, so ultimately I will keep doing some reactions to them, though probably I will continue to mention the discussion and thoughts I had in the reaction to Tearing Everyone Down, just because, you know, it's sort of this elephant in the room that cannot be avoided. Nevertheless, let me know what you think of the tune, and I will see you next time. Peace.